My quilt story is not for the weak of heart or the highly nervous. It's about a Christmas play. I was hired some years ago to play the head elf in a Christmas play at the Meadowbrook Mall in New Jersey. My character's name was Flea. That's elf spelled backwards. And that tells you all you need to know about the writing of this play. Basically, the show is about the head elf who's wondering where Santa is. Where is he? I don't know. I haven't seen him. Have you seen him? Mrs. Claus, have you seen him? Oh, I hope he's not late. You get the gist. That was the whole play. And eventually, Santa arrives. Oh, what a relief Santa's here. He comes out on stage, and then he is met by the young star of The Cosby Show. She played Rudy, 6 years old, and Rudy had 2 lines. She had, "Hi, Santa, I'm Rudy." And second, "I want," and then she gave her list of Christmas stuff that she wanted. Well, I have to throw in here that just so you get a whole picture of the whole day, that little girl got $6,000 for those, did I say it was 2 lines? And tuna fish sandwich with the crust cut off and seedless grapes in her contract, and threw up in the limo on the way out to New Jersey. The rest of us got $150, rehearsed all week long, and paid our own way by bus back and forth from Port Authority to the Meadowbrook Mall. Just saying. Okay. So the lead, the head elf, drives the show. Everything's going fine. We've got all our lines down. We've got our songs. Oh, there's a toy doll, young lady dancer. I wind her up and she moves as a music box dancer. There are 4 toy soldiers who sing barbershop quartet. So there's a lot of entertainment before. And Mrs. Claus and I have the scenes of, where's Santa? I don't know. Haven't seen him. Is he going to be late? What about Christmas this year? Okay. We get to the Meadowbrook Mall. Now the stage is risers, about 3.5 feet high, I guess. Stretched out, bolted together. And then another set of risers coming upstage, sort of like a big T. Behind the site were red curtains hanging up to hide the backstage, and you could only enter through the center curtain and exit. Okay? When you exited, you push the curtain aside, and there's the riser, same height, just walk off and then down a series of steps. So we're doing the play. I'm dressed, I have a little beard made by the Broadway hair makers, little beard, little eyebrows, little elf hat with bells on. Flea, the head elf, starts the show. And no one can hear a word of it because they could care less that we had a dancing doll and that we had singing toy soldiers. They could care less that I didn't know where Santa was, and neither did Mrs. Claus. They wanted Rudy. So for half an hour, actually, well, I guess 20 minutes of our show, all we hear is, "Where's Rudy? We want Rudy." It's New Jersey. Did I tell you it was New Jersey? So you get the whole picture. "Rudy, we want Rudy, we want Rudy." Okay. They're missing all the nuance I'm bringing to this. Where's Santa? Will he be here in time? I don't know. That's all out the window. Finally, Santa arrives, throws the curtain. Now Santa, did you ever see that movie with Joan Collins where she murders her husband and spends the movie cleaning up the blood? I told you it wasn't for the weak and nervous. Stay with me now. Cleaning up the blood for the movie, drags the body down into the basement, and outside is a psycho from the asylum who's dressed up in a Santa Claus suit. Okay, here he is. He had one white eye, one gray eye. His own beard was gray and grizzled. His own Santa suit, which didn't quite close over his own belly, which was covered by a gray t-shirt with a hole in it, where I think he'd been scratching. And he drank his dinner. Just saying. So he comes through the curtain and says, "Where's my bag of toys?" So there's no bag of toys in the show. I throw that one to Mrs. Claus. Look at her. She's married to him. And she says, "Well, Santa, I believe your bag of toys is over in Toyland. And later, you'll be going over there with all the kids. They'll get to meet you, and they'll all get an ornament for their tree." "I want my bag of toys!" At that point, a black bag is thrown up onto the stage, a hefty black bag, just thrown up. It seems that all the merchants in the mall were giving Rudy gifts. Did I tell you she got $6,000 for this? giving Rudy gifts, a Rubik's Cube from this purse, I don't know what all. And Santa went through every single one to make sure all the merchants were mentioned and all the toys were open. And I saw the 812 bus back to New York disappear on wings. And we're all waiting there for all of this to stop. And finally, she gets off the stage, and Santa gets up, and we all sing the big final number, and we're all waving goodbye, and we turn to go, and I push open the curtain, and Mrs. Claus exits, and I wait for Mr. Claus to come through, being a very polite elf. And Santa ignored what I was doing, and he went right through the stage left part of the curtain and fell off the stage, down 3.5 feet, landed on a dolly. He then rolled into the audience with his legs in the air, his belt burst open, his stomach came out, and he lay there flailing on the floor of the Meadowbrook Mall. The head elf looked at the ceiling of the mall and just went, "It lacked only this." And I left. Going down the stairs backstage, and I hear this voice, and I turn around, and this lovely lady with a little boy behind her says, "Excuse me, can we ask you what we want for Christmas? We're afraid of Santa." So I looked at this little boy, and I said, "I am in charge of shipping." I said, "What would you like for Christmas?" And he said, "I want a red fire truck." And I looked at the mother, and she nodded, and I said, "I'll make sure you get that red fire truck. Merry Christmas." And I turned to go, and he said, "Oh, wait, I didn't tell you where I lived." I said, "Oh, right. What's your address?" "I don't know my address. But I live in a big white house by the lake." I said, "Again, white house by the lake, red fire truck. Merry Christmas." Turned to go. He said, "Oh, wait a minute." Turned back, and he said, "There are a lot of white houses by the lake." "I know. I'll put a tree up in the living room." So with all that mess, I almost said her name, with Rudy vomiting in her limo on the way over here, with Santa still lying on his back, flailing like a turtle, unable to get up, there was this little boy who didn't lose his faith in Christmas after all that mess and came to the head elf to ask for his present. I thought that was wonderful. So Merry Christmas.